Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to recommend you. No.
The next day.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Anushka and today I'm going to recommend you 3 books that ruined my life while simultaneously telling you to read them too so that they ruin your life too. And it's a good way. They're good books. They're not Colin Hoover books that really ruin your life. No, they ruin you emotionally, they ruin you psychologically and physically and mentally, and then you won't be able to think the same thing again. But it's a good thing because they're good books. And we have also got our emotional support candle here. It's coffee flavored, so it gives us support. So they're all fantasy, to be honest. They're all fantasy because it's your fantasy girly bookish type of thing. They're all fantasy. Anyways, let's get started. Before we do get started, do make sure to subscribe and like this video and share this with other bookish friends that want their lives ruined. Thank you so much. So the first book we're going to talk about is Song of Achilles. The Song of Achilles is the first ever book I ever read of fantasy apart from Percy Jackson and Harry Potter, because Percy Jackson and Harry Potter I read when I was 10, 11, 12 and moving on. But Song of Achilles I read when I was 15 and I went to the first book market. For the first time I went to a book market and I got this book, and never have I ever regretted my decision of getting this book, because this book, it emotionally shred me to pieces. It had my jaw on the floor. The plot twist in this book, the emotion that you'll feel in this book is nothing compared to the Colin Hoover books you read. So disclaimer, first of all, there will be a lot of Colin Hoover bashing in this video, so maybe you should leave if you are a fan of hers. YouTube, please don't ban me. So the Song of Achilles, so when you do read the book, do not start by reading with the back. That is the first thing I tell people when they start reading books. Do not start reading from the back. That way you'll know the whole plot and it won't then build and build and build. Captain Holt. Build and build and build. But anyways, so the back is just ignore the back. The back should be read after reading the book, like during the first time movies were released, the trailers were shown after the movie was shown, after people watched the movies, because the trailer is just a short summary of the movie, and this should be short summary of the plot. Of course it doesn't reveal the plot twist, but of course you'll know the whole plot. Then you'll be reading the book like you already know what's in the book. Then what is the point of reading the book if you know what's in the book? Then why are you reading the book? Short pause. Anyways, Song of Achilles is a rewriting of the Greek mythology about the half-god Patroclus, written by Madeline Miller. Love her. Many people do say that like Song of Achilles is actually really one-dimensional and the plot is too guessing. People do guess the plot. Emotional support candle, where are you? People do guess the plot, but to me Song of Achilles was really nice. It just, because this was the first Greek mythology retelling I read that didn't involve Percy Jackson or monsters trying to kill demigods. So Achilles is also a demigod, but the way that this is portrayed, so spoilies ahead, I just recommended it, but I'm also going to give you spoilers. Anyways, the spoiler for this book is that Achilles, demigod, is told to go to war, and they say that if he doesn't go to war, then his name won't be lived on. And Achilles is like, oh no, I wanna be known through the history. But he was not known for his fighting skills too. No, not in this book. He wasn't. The way I remember him from these books. I'm not trying to like do some cultural appropriation of the Greeks. I love the Greeks, but this book, Achilles is not known for his fighting skills, at least to me. Achilles is known for the lover he was to Patroclus. The story actually starts with Patroclus narrating it and how his father met his mother and how he was already like perceived as the not so good malnourished type of king, future king actually, and he portrays it accidentally, but I do think it was intentional. He accidentally kills a noble's son, and then his father has to banish him to another kingdom because his funeral will cost more then the banishment will. So he's banished to the kingdom where Achilles resides as the future heir. I don't particularly remember the names. I should have done my research before. But anyways, he is banished to another kingdom where Achilles is the prince, and that kingdom already takes lost boys. So he meets Achilles while Achilles is playing the harp, or as we call it, the lyre. And the story starts from there. So the thing is, Achilles is in the later chapters, in the end of the chapters, portrayed as violent and killing people and having no mercy. But he says that Patroclus is the one who shows Achilles what true love is. Like Achilles is tamed when he meets Patroclus, and the only reason Achilles plays the lyre is because of Patroclus. They have a really great story, but a story always has a villain, and in this story there are many villains. Of course, there is so much fighting and so much killing, and in the end Patroclus does die. That is why Achilles goes to kill people. But the real villain in this book is Achilles' mother. I did not like her. What do you mean your son is in love with a human? Why do you portray that human as a weakling just because he was banished and just because he can't fight? He can love, man. He can love. So I want to read you guys a quote from this very book that is going around. That is the most famous quote of this book. Had she really thought I would not know him? I could recognize him by touch alone, by smell. I would know him blind by the way his breaths came and his feet struck the earth. I would know him in death at the end of the world. Is that not romantic, ma'am? Why did you have to separate these two lovers? They were the best, dude. So as someone who loved this book, I recommend you do read it. You will be sobbing by the end of it, but it's worth it. And people who say that the book is really one-dimensional, everyone has opinions. I respect everyone's opinions, except the people who love Colleen Hoover. No, they are trash, just as her writing. But still, let's move on to the next book. So the next book is Powerless, written by Lauren Roberts. She makes me scream and cry and wonder why she did this to her characters. But we will remain calm today, and I will recommend the book to you. Anyways, Powerless by Lauren Roberts hasn't been out for that long as the other books have that I'm going to recommend, The Song of Achilles and another book. You probably saw the title in the intro. Anyways, Powerless is another fantasy, and as usual, do not read the back. Listen to what I'm saying, because the back reveals more than I will. I know, because I also started reading books without reading the backs, because the main question stands there, right? Why are you reading the back if you want to read the book? Because then you'll know what's in the book because you read the back. Then why are you reading the book? Because you have already read the back. Then what is the point of reading the book after reading the back when you should be reading the back after reading the book? Deep breaths. Be calm. Remain calm. Anyways, Powerless is about two individuals. Peyton Gray, who is 18 years old, lives on the street and steals things for a living. She lives with her best friend Edina. We really weren't given much context on Edina, except that she was a really important character. She is a side character whom everyone loves. She's really nice. She's really bubbly. You can see what I'm building up to. God damn, I revealed the plot twist to you. Anyways, and the second individual is Kai. I don't remember his last name. Ooh, what is his last name, bro? Kai Azer, right? Kai Azer. He is the second son of the king, the kingdom of Ilia, and the king there rules the kingdom, of course. The dynamic here is really interestingly built because the people in the kingdom are divided by four classes actually. The elites, the defensives, the mundanes, and the ordinaries. Just like we humans divide our classes, we real people divide our classes. Like there's the middle class, upper middle class, lower middle class, below poverty line, the freaking disgustingly rich people. So this is also divided by that, except with alongside money, they also have magical powers. Magical powers that they gained after their kingdom was hit by a plague which took many people. So they believed that as an apology, nature provided them with powers. and the ordinaries are the ones who have no power, and the king mostly ordered to purge the ordinaries out of the kingdom, so there are no ordinaries left. And even if there are ordinaries left, ordinary people, like normal people, that is what they call them, ordinaries left, the ordinaries are hiding. The elite people are the closest to the king. They're the rich class, the nobles. If there were kingdoms like in the 1500s, those elite people would be, okay. Starting to where we left off, the elites would be the nobles, the rich people who live alongside the king or serve the king or have really good ties with the king. The defensives are usually landowners, like Mr. Darcy, and the mundanes. The mundanes are like Mr. Bingley, but much poorer. But because Mr. Bingley, why am I doing? Because we've been reading Pride and Prejudice in our classes at college, so I'm just making the connections here. For anyone who hasn't read or even watched Pride and Prejudice, it's like the landowners would be the defensives, and the mundanes would be the people, middle class people who have money but they're not really that high in rank. And of course there are the ordinaries, the untouchables, the people who shouldn't really be contacted with or married to or have kids with. So our protagonist, our female protagonist, Peyton Grey, is an ordinary, and our male protagonist, Kai Azer, is the second son of the king, so he's an elite. Kai Azer has powers, Peyton Grey doesn't have powers. So to survive, she pretends that she's a psychic, that she can guess where people come from or what people are or what they were doing before, and then she survives the street in the slums. But every year a competition happens where they just compete with each other to rise in ranking or something like that, and people are chosen out of the blue, and she is also chosen for the competition. There's a lot of backstory in that, why she's chosen, but you'll have to read the book or I'll have to reveal the entire plot to you. There is a lot of build up, there are a lot of chapters in this book. There are like 68 chapters and an epilogue. This is a really good book. That is all I have to say, because fantasy books are great. This has romance, but it also has a lot of politics. During the time, the book really got a bit boring because it was really long, and I was in kind of a reading slump that time, of course, but still I did manage to read it, and it's interesting if you're really into it, and I would recommend reading it once in your life. And there are other two books, The Reckless, which has already come out, and Fearless, which will come out in April 25 next year, 2025. Wait, April 25, 2025 or April, whatever, but it will come out. It hasn't come out yet. And the second book, Reckless, it has a really bad plot twist. It has a cliffhanger, dude. What will I do with these authors? They should publish all 3 books alongside. That way they can make more sales. Actually, they cannot. Pre-ordering books also gives you more money. Anyways, I'm a commerce student. I should know all about that. So, going to read you a quote from the book. This is much later in the book. Like, much of the book has already been finished, but it's no spoiler or anything because we all know Kai and Peyton are going to end up together, or so we think. I'm looking at you, Lauren Roberts. It's like a tangible tether between us, this consuming connection. I will her to meet my eyes, and when they do, sparks, electricity, everything beautiful, everything bold, everything breathtaking. That is what I feel in her gaze. That and terrified. Terrified of what she's doing to me. She's a vision, a nightmare, a dream. A grim reaper, clad in black, come to steal my soul and my heart. I have never seen something so beautiful, so bold, and so blatantly wrong for me. She is devil, she is deity. She is man's downfall in human form. She is my downfall. We can all see he is head over heels for her, but most of the time he's in denial for it. These books break me, man. These books are going to break me one day.
2,000 years later.
Whoa, whoa!
No.
Moving to the last book, the book closest to my heart. pardon me if I am shouting, pardon me if I am speaking loudly, but this book just rips me to pieces more than the other books did. Like, there was nothing left of me. This book put me in a slump because of how good it was. I mean, this book alongside the rest of the two books, because it is a trilogy. But the politics, this is fantasy, and this is such a good political fantasy. It's known to be enemies to lovers, but the enemies to lovers really doesn't hit until the end of the second book. It's mostly politics, it's mostly trauma, it's mostly dad issues, mom issues, twin sister issues, boyfriend issues, enemy issues, class issues, world issues, parents dying issues, stepdaddy issues, stepmommy issues. It's everything about issues and politics. And our main protagonist is Jude Duarte, and I worship her. She's a deity. Every girl should be like Jude Duarte, except of their trauma. They shouldn't have trauma. I pray no girl has trauma, just like Jude Duarte's. And as I said in the first two, with the first two books, the first two times, do not read the back. I am so sorry. You should not read the back. Anyways, so this I will start this book with the quote first. I will start talking about this book with the quote first. The quote that has been going around so much. If I cannot be better than them, I will be so much worse. Oh God, this book, this quote. Of course, people should not read this, watch videos of this book, because this book has so many plot twists. So many plot twists. My jaw was sweeping the floor by the time I finished with this book, and my mind was not ready for what was about to come in the next two books, because Wicked King destroyed me. Wicked King made me kill myself. And then Queen of Nothing healed me, of course, in a really good way, because Wicked King ended with a cliffhanger, ended with the biggest plot twist ever in the history of this Cruel Prince trilogy. And it also broke many readers. So I was really thankful that all three books were out before I started reading this trilogy. Of course, the first book did not really grab my attention. I have to be honest in that thing. It did not grab my attention. It wasn't like, oh my god, this is such a good book. Because this fantasy had me really confused because what was going on. I thought this book was improvised, first of all. This book was improvised and not really planned out, by the way it was executed and the way it was confusing me to the point where I was like, I do not want to read this book. I am really confused. Who are the characters? What is happening? What's wrong? And the names were literally, oh my gosh, Cardan and Dane and Maddock, Oriana, Oak. Oak is the only comprehensible, fathomable name in the book. Besides that, it's fantasy, I know, but make the names a bit easier, madam, please. But Holly Black is a genius. Holly Black is one of the authors that I actually admire, like Taylor Jenkins Reid, or Madeline Miller, of course, Agatha Christie, Jane Austen, Charlotte Bronte, not Colin Hoover. Nobody say Colin Hoover. Colin Hoover bad. Back to where we left off, worshipping Holly Black and the book. Anyways, Holly Black is a genius. We love Holly Black, and the book is about Jude Duarte, a 17-year-old girl who is a human and is whisked away by her stepfather to the land of Fae people, where she is treated differently because obviously she's a human. They consider her to be lower in ranking, and she's bullied. And there is a group of royals. There's the Princess of Undersea, like the Queen of Undersea, and that's her daughter Nicasia. The king's youngest son Cardan, Locke, who was someone's some noble's rich son, and there's Valerian. I don't really remember much about Valerian except that he was killed by our much wonderful Jude Duarte. Thank you very much. Anyways, these four, they are the royal group in the academy where she goes to study, and they bully her a lot. And in the end, it turns out that her twin sister is of much of a backstabber than those people. At least one of them fell in love with her, dude. but that twin sister, she literally backstabbed her. Anyways, this book is mostly about politics, the High King, and how the entire family gets killed in the end, and then Cardan falls in love with her slowly through the second book, and how she uses her brother as a pawn. And even though she condemns her father for using her brother as a pawn, but her brother is also her stepbrother, and her oldest sister is also her half sister, because the stepfather that killed their parents and took them back to Fey land is her oldest sister's father, because her mother ran away because she didn't like living in Fey. Yeah, that rhymed. Oh my gosh, that rhymed. Also, their mother was a human, their father was a human, but their elder sister, whose name is Vivian, her father was Maddox, who killed Jude's parents. This is really fucked up family tree. When you read about it, this is like a Once Upon a Time family tree. The Once Upon a Time, a show that retells the Disney classics. This is like that family tree. But anyways, these three books that I told you about, these three books are what you need to start reading if you are into fantasy. Of course, there are many more, like A Coat of Thorns and Roses, The Poppy War, The Red Queen, Caraval. I'm actually in the middle of reading Caraval, and Lightlark, Throne of Glass, and much more that I do not know about, because my genre, it revolves a lot around these things, because this is like my genre. I don't know if you can zoom on it or not, because it's like a secret history by Donna Tartt. It's Pride and Prejudice, and this also Introduction to Literary Studies, because that will be studying in college. Crime and Punishment, I'm really going into classics, so if anyone has a good classic they want to recommend, I would really appreciate it. Thank you. That is all for today's video. Like I said before, do subscribe, do like if you want to, or if you want me to make more videos about these kinds of books. Thank you so much.